now set down, and she explodes with power once again. This filly can cross wherever she wants. Jaywalk is a Breeders' Cup champ.
Cortland Simmons with you here at the CS Racing Report. There are a lot of ways to wager. Can Ken Accelerate take his show on the road and win in Kentucky? Looking at next year, 2019, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, both the fillies and the Colts, offer people a little bit of a insight on where and who the players are going to possibly be in the 2019 Triple Crown races in this particular case, with the 2018 runnings of both races. And we're going to look at the Juvenile Colts, get right into it. Game winner, trained by Bob Baffert, came in as the even money favorite, was able to confirm his status after breaking a little slowly and going wide. He was forced 5 wide for much of the race and was bumped by Knicks Go in the stretch. Knicks Go came in off the Breeders' Futurity, a 70-1 upset. An odd, an odd figure that was probably a little high for him. Still came in at 40-1. So for those who had any faith in the fact that that race at Keeneland in the Breeders' Futurity wasn't a fluke, he certainly confirmed that. Looked like he might be able to pull off the upset. Bumping game winner in the stretch, which kind of broke the winner's momentum a little bit. It's sort of incidental contact more than anything else. There's no question Knicks Go was getting a little bit tired there, but certainly not as tired as some of the horses that disappointed in here. We're going to talk about that in a minute or two. But it was a workmanlike performance by game winner to be able to score register his third Grade 1 win, winning by, as I said before, 2 1/4 lengths, 143.67 for the 1 1/16, the 8 1/2 furlongs. That was 0.5 of a second slower than Jaywalk's winning time for the fillies in the juvenile version of this 2-year-old classic at Churchill Downs. Knicks Go, as aforementioned, was the runner-up. Signalman out of the Kenny McPeek barn, he was 67-1. He ran second in that Breeders' Futurity, yet he rang up the tote board at 67-1. These horses probably aren't as high as inferior as the odds would suggest. You might want to invest a couple dollars on these horses, and for anyone who did, Signalman for Kenny McPeek ran very, very well in here. He was 6 1/4 lengths in front of the 4th place, Mr. Money, with Gunmetal Gray 5th. There were some serious disappointments in this race. Complexity, who was very impressive in the Champagne Stakes, he was a no-show, and he finished 10th in here. And then the other Chad Brown trainee that everybody thought had a bad trip in the Breeders' Futurity, when Knicks Go scored the upset, Standard Deviation, a son of Curlin, he finished 13th, never really got going. It could be argued that there was something physical going on, or it just may have been the fact that 12 other horses were faster than he was. We're going to find out a lot more about him in the future and see if he can make it back and redeem himself down the road here. Probably won't run again in 2018. We'll just have to wait and see. Certainly there'll be some interest in whether he can recover from this thrashing in the Breeders' Cup by finishing 13th. Mind Control, the winner of the Hopeful, who missed the Breeders' Futurity, another tie into the Keeneland race. He came in off of works, finished 7th. Really didn't keep up, wasn't really had a hard time keeping up in this race with the other horses, and that probably is a byproduct of training up to the race, and or the fact that he might just be a cut below the horses that are really the creme de la creme going further. But we'll have to wait and see. He definitely took a misstep in terms of missing that prep, and we'll just see if this race doesn't take too much out of him and he can reroute himself back into the fray of being one of the top Derby candidates. And so Gregory Sacco will have to determine that. We'll find out a lot more about that.
On the outside, it's Knicks Go, who fights on but will be second best as they come down to the line. He doesn't know how to lose. He's game winner in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.